Netflix, you don't need cable. Hop on YouTube, welcome to the table. Where we chop up globally, binge locally. You don't really wanna miss out on these conversations. Just joke a little, laugh a little, get that wine in your system, fill your glass a little. Expose current events, talk trash a little. You never know, these opinions might clash a little. Addicted to the content, got them binge watching. You don't like it, then you want to invite it. Bet your friends watching in the house and you job parking lot before you clocking. They don't wanna miss a second, but it's HD content. Everybody they got something to say, so it's an open invitation. Bring it to the table, but if you come whack, just know we ain't buying in. We gon' probably turn you back and say you started trafficking. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Hey! Oh, what's up, everybody? Hey, come on in, come on in. I have to have a little fun with that one. What's going on? Hey, is that Carrie Ray? Is that Harper Sean? Hey, y'all, come on in. Let me make sure. Hold on. Please share out the live, y'all. If y'all have a community wall, if y'all have a Facebook, if y'all have a Twitter, you know, whatever. Please share out the live. We is about to have some conversation about this R. Kelly trial. It is now wrapped up. It is complete. And now the fate of him is in the jury's hands. Let me take me a little sip over here. And it is 2:30 in the afternoon. It's afternoon, so I can't have me a sip, and it's Saturday and I don't have to work today. So cheers. Hey, but yes, I hope everybody is having a great weekend. I hope your Saturday is off to a good start. Y'all know I couldn't work yesterday because my computer crashed. Then come to find out, over 30 people's computer crashed with the new updates that we had got put on our systems on Friday. So I wasn't the only one. I thought it was just me. Like I had did something wrong to my computer. But anyway, they first told me that it would come overnight, my new laptop, by FedEx. Then when I called and checked on it today, they said, well, because it was so many people who needed new laptops, they couldn't get them all done before FedEx was, before the time frame. So I won't get my laptop to like Tuesday. So I can't work Monday either. So I'll probably be on here harassing y'all Monday while y'all at work. But anywho, yeah, Monday, matter of fact, yeah, I'll probably be doing the the final episode of Power. So I think the finale is this Sunday. But anyway, come on in, y'all. Have y'all been keeping up with the R. Kelly trial? Y'all know I have. Let me put on my little glasses so I can read my little notes. Oh, child. Oh, child. Okay, here we go. I'm ready, y'all. Make sure you like and share the video, by the way, and subscribe to the channel if I haven't already said that. And feel free if you want to make some little donations. The Cash App is running across the bottom of the screen if you want to show your girl some love or hit that super chat button. Now, the trial has wrapped up. And y'all know I have been following it for quite some time. But today, I just want to kind of like highlight certain witnesses, highlight certain stories, highlight certain allegations, and also some of the witnesses that the defense had tried to use to try to convince the jury that R. Kelly is innocent. Okay. I don't know if y'all been reading the blogs or following in the media, but they were trying to make R. Kelly out to be like a Martin Luther the King after the, at the end of the trial and the closing arguments of the defense. They were really trying to make him seem like Martin Luther the King. And we're going to get into that, y'all. I cannot believe it. Hey, Miss Hall, how you doing, love? Hold on, y'all. Am I freezing? Let me know if I'm freezing, y'all. I'm looking at my cell phone and I thought I was freezing. So please let me know if I'm freezing. But yes. So, hold on. Where was I at? Okay. So, for those of y'all who've been sleeping under a rock, R. Kelly is on trial right now. for sex trafficking, forced labor, violations of the Mann Act, racketeering, sexual exploitation of children, and kidnapping. Allegedly, he would entice girls, boys, young women, young men before dominating and controlling them physically, sexually, and psychologically. And for the last 5 weeks, we have been following the R. Kelly trial and, getting all the info we can from the different witnesses because, it was a private trial due to the pandemic, due to all the numbers, going back up from the pandemic. So the judge had declared that the courtroom be shut off to all media, to all public. And so everything that we've been getting has literally been from the reporters who are allowed to cover the story. They're basically like on like some type of Zoom where they have the cameras in the courtroom and the reporters can take their notes and all that kind of stuff that way. So that's how we are getting the information. But yes, R. Kelly's fate is now in the hands of the jury. Um, his sexual misconduct trial deliberation has begun. Now, deliberation began on Friday. It was a panel of 7 men, 5 women. They began deliberating the racketeering and sexual trafficking charges Friday afternoon, and they ended the day without reaching a verdict. And they are due back in court on Monday to resume their work. Now, what I'm going to do here. Okay, is that a little better? Is that a little more clear? Y'all let me know. Give me some feedback out there. Give me some feedback. Am I clear? Is it blurry? Is it fuzzy? Let me know how I'm coming in, you guys. But yeah, so it's 7 men, 5 women. And I had read where a couple of hours, just a few hours after deliberation, the jurors had sent the judge a note. They wanted a transcript of the testimony and of the evidence, regarding the woman that Kelly had assaulted in 2003. That was the 21-year-old radio intern. And she had testified that she was kept locked up in a recording studio for days and she was drugged, before the assault. She was starved. She was deprived water. She was deprived food and everything. You say, yes, I'm coming in good. Why does it seem like I'm freezing then? Hold on. Let me look over here. Harper Sean, are you telling the truth? Hold on. Because on my cell phone, it shows me freezing. So that's why I keep asking y'all. And that's why I went out. Let me look over here on YouTube. Oh, thanks for liking the video, you guys. It's a little fuzzy. I knew it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just go ahead and turn off my green screen. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Let's see how I do this. Okay. All right. Hopefully this will work. Let me know. I done turned off the little green screen. That might have been the reason. The green screen might have been the reason why I was freezing. So I went ahead and turned that off for you guys. Hey everybody who's tuning in, please like and share the video, please, and thank you very much. We are just discussing the R. Kelly trial wrapping up, and now the jury is deliberating. And again, after a few hours of deliberation, the judge received a note from the jury saying they wanted some transcripts from that 20-year-old testimony, the one who had was the radio station intern. And basically, if y'all remember, that 21-year-old, when she came to visit him, she was coming because he had told her that she was allowed to interview him. But when she got here, she said all her things was taken away. They made her sign like 2 NDAs. They made her give them the name of her most recent contacts that she had talked to on her cell phone. Some was her family, her grandma, her closest friends. They took all that contact information, then asked her, did she need any condoms? She was like, I'm here for an interview. What do you mean, do I need some condoms? But anyway, the lady was taken to this room. She was locked in this room. She was told she can't come out unless she asks permission to get something to eat, use the bathroom, whatever. After 2 days of being starved, she said they brought her some food and something to drink. And then a little bit after that, she said she started feeling woozy, delirious, and she said she passed out and she woke up feeling something wet in between her legs and saw R. Kelly standing to the side putting his clothes on. So she accused him of assaulting her after she was drugged. So after a few hours of deliberation, the jury had asked to have those transcripts. Basically, that's what happened. So you said I'm freezing on and off. Oh boy. I don't know what's going on in our area in our neck of the woods today. But I'm gonna see if I can fix it real quick. Okay, we back. Hey Judah. You said thanks, Wavy Cam. Said one moment, please. Judah said Kelly was trying to get his master's back. He signed deal, but case pops up, so he couldn't fulfill his contract. Yep, that's true. That's true. But what did y'all think about his lawyers comparing him to Martin Luther King? I'm still tripping over that, but anywho. So, as I was saying before the computer was tripping, basically what the prosecutors were saying that R. Kelly believed his music, his fame, and him being a celebrity meant that he can literally do whatever he wanted, and I agree with that. That is what the U.S. the assistant U.S. attorney Nadia Shahada said in federal court. And then she said he is not a genius. He's a criminal. He's a predator. And she added that his alleged victims are not groupies and gold diggers. They're human beings because, that's what the defense has been saying the entire time, that all these people who are making these allegations against him are just groupies and gold diggers. And that they knew what they were getting to when they knew what they were getting into when they, started having these relationships with him. But anyway, I just wanted to hit on some of the characters, some of the witnesses that stood out for me. You guys can let me know about some of the characters that might have stood out to you. Some of the witnesses. Yes, Martin Luther King. Oh, hell no. They ain't that old Jay. No, that's Sir King. Sir King be cracking me up every time he play that video clip. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. But yes, you say you behind on the video, so I'm confused by the comparison. Okay, this what had happened. This what had happened, y'all. Okay. So the attorney representing R. Kelly in his sex crimes trial. His name is Devereaux Canick, and I hope I'm saying it right because I've been saying that all these 5 weeks. I've been pronouncing his name Devereaux. So I think that's how it's pronounced. But anyway, Devereaux Canick, he's the attorney, the lead attorney. He also presented the closing arguments this past Thursday. And he compared him to the 1960s civil rights movement to Martin Luther King. What he said was, the lawyer, he said King was called a rabble rouser, a communist, and he was eventually murdered for trying to abide by protections enshrined in the U.S. Constitution. Okay. He said, all I'm trying to do is make it true to what it said on paper. He was paraphrasing King's "I've been to mountaintop" speech. He said that's all Rob is trying to do. I find this quite, I don't know. Okay. If y'all been following on the trial, y'all know about even the people that the defense had brought upon the stand. And I don't know why, but I got the impression that his lawyers are really not working on his side. That's just the way it seems to me. That's the way. I mean, in closing arguments, the defense, he drew a comparison by telling the jury that R. Kelly is demanding prosecutors prove he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, the same way Dr. King fought for constitutional rights. Then he went into MLK's "I've been to the mountaintop" speech. Somewhere he read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of the press. Okay. Then they argued the correlation of Kelly and King because Dr. King wanted the government to uphold the Constitution. And apparently Kelly wants the same thing, only with his sex crimes. And they're basically saying that R. Kelly's team seem to be throwing a Hail Mary attempt at this point. I am baffled beyond bafflementations. You said, I see you left the crazy lady with all the shouting over there. What crazy lady? Hold up. Hey, View. Oh, you talking to View. Okay, I'm up here like, what? What happened? I don't know what's going on, y'all. I don't know what's going on. But I seem to still be freezing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the camera and we're going to do it like this. That's how we're going to do it. Y'all know what I look like, so we're going to keep it pushing. Carrie Ray said his music was good. However, his personal life and narcissistic tendencies were nasty and sick as hell. Amen. And the wealthier he got, the worse it became. Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And that's what the prosecutors were trying to say. That's what they were trying to say. This entire time. Now, some of the characters that stood out to me, or the witnesses that stood out to me, number one, was Chris McGrath. Now, y'all remember Chris McGrath was Kelly's doctor for over 25 years. And he had testified that he has prescribed the musician medication to treat symptoms of genital herpes all the way back as early as 2007. McGrath said that he had basically delivered so many prescriptions for R. Kelly to get herpes medicine that he had remembered the phone number to the pharmacy that R. Kelly preferred. He had remembered the phone number by heart. He said that's how many times he has prescribed the singer with herpes medication. So a lot of this, what Chris McGrath, the doctor, said, that was very helpful in this whole trial, because some of the accusers kept saying that R. Kelly gave him herpes. He didn't tell them he had herpes. He never wanted to use condoms. Never. He refused to use condoms. Yet and still, he knew that he'd been having herpes. The doctor said he first realized that R. Kelly possibly had the herpes disease in 2006. But he said R. Kelly didn't request medication until 2007. That's a long time, because up until the time he got locked up for this second trial, that was in 2019. So from 2006 to 2019, that's 13 years of knowing that you have genital herpes. And he was sued several times. One lady got $200,000 from him. He was sued several times for not revealing his disease to his sexual partners, even though the doctor repeatedly told him, make sure you are telling people that you have this disease. People was having the bumps all in their mouth, in their vagina, just butt cheeks, everything. He didn't care either. Even when they was breaking out, he still would have sex with them, and they be up there crying in pain because it hurts. And he'd be like, oh, it's just hurting because you can't handle my girth, handle my size. That's what he would tell the women. Child. But anyway. So that was one of the witnesses that stood out to me. Another witness that stood out to me was Carolyn Harris. She was the Cook County Clerk Supervisor, and she testified on day 3 of the trial. And this was actually the first time that anybody really outside of Kelly and his circle really saw a copy of the 1994 marriage license for Kelly and Aaliyah. Again, at the time he married her, he was 27, she was 15. During that day, that was the only day of the trial that his defense attorneys remained quiet. They didn't cross-examine. They didn't ask questions. They didn't breathe a word, and neither did R. Kelly. And when asked by Moore, are there any thoughts on the trial? The defense attorney, Nicole Blank Becker, stated, we're not allowed to talk about it. I myself wasn't surprised or shocked that his defense attorney chose not to comment, because for years there's been rumors circulating, regarding Kelly paying off Aaliyah's parents and an alleged NDA agreement that told him that if he ever discussed the marriage, the wedding license, their relationship, anything like that, he would be in trouble. So I think Kelly didn't want any smoke from her parents, and I believe that his defense didn't want any smoke from her parents. So yeah, he is sick. He is sick. He didn't see nothing wrong with giving them some herpes. Just like Judah said. That his song, "We don't see nothing wrong with a little bip and grind." He didn't see nothing wrong with giving them the herpes virus. He didn't see nothing wrong. But anyway. Who you send your 15-year-old daughter to the studio with R. Kelly in the 90s? Well, you got to remember, back in the 90s, the early 90s, it wasn't all those allegations floating around back then. All the allegations wasn't floating around back then. Around that time, R. Kelly was messing around with little girls, but as such as the some of the witnesses, the one who actually testified, who worked for him, everybody signed NDAs, and they didn't actually see him having sex. Like, they knew all the girls was there. They knew he was in these rooms with all these girls. They knew that he kept them locked up. They knew. That was mainly the excuse of the defense. Only a few people actually saw him engaging in actual sexual activity, and that was like the other witnesses, the other singers, the other, his entourage. But the we know for sure that he had sex with Aaliyah. We know that for sure. We saw the court documents. His former manager, Darius Smith, he testified that yes, $500 was paid to somebody at the welfare office to get Aaliyah a fake welfare ID. And even back then, a fake welfare ID was not identification that was supposed to illegal to use to get a marriage license. So not only did they get a fake welfare ID because she was only 15, but the marriage license also couldn't have been legal because of the fact she used a welfare ID to get the license. So that was not a legal way to obtain that. But anyway, she had testified about the 94 marriage between Kelly and Aaliyah. She said that they did use a public AID showing that she was 18 to get the marriage license. And Demetrius Smith, Kelly's former manager, he said that Kelly secretly told him that Aaliyah, he testified on the stand that Kelly secretly told him that Aaliyah was pregnant with his child. And Smith was the one, remember, he was the one that tried to get out of testifying. He had tried to plead the fifth, but the judge said, we can't let you plead the fifth because you already agreed to receive immunity in this case from a previous judge. So he didn't even want to testify because he was like the main witness who could testify that yes, there was a marriage license, that yes, R. Kelly paid somebody $500 to give her Aaliyah a fake ID to obtain that marriage license. So that was another one of the character witnesses that stood out for me. Let's see who else. Okay, Azriel. Okay, you remember Azriel. You remember Azriel and Joyce Lane Savage. Azriel Clary was Jane Doe number 5 in this trial. And then there was Joyce Lynn Savage. On day number 5, Jane Doe number 5, which is Azriel, she is one of the two ladies who actually lived with R. Kelly in his penthouse. And she was one of the two ladies that had did an interview with Gayle King. Y'all remember that interview with Gayle King? Azriel was like the main one that was being really, really rude and disrespectful to Gayle, during that interview, which was on March 8th of 2019. And during that interview, Azriel has stated that her parents, who had shared their daughter's sexual abuse story on the Surviving R. Kelly series, you recall her parents was on that series, she accused them of making it all up. She also accused both her parents and Joyce Lynn's parents. They were not receiving any money for R. Kelly for their daughters to be living with him, and that's why they were making up those stories. So she was calling them liars. So y'all remember all that, right? Y'all remember that her parents on the Surviving R. Kelly series said that their daughter was an aspiring singer, an aspiring artist, and R. Kelly was supposed to be helping her with her music. And then Azriel told Gayle King that she didn't like music. She never wanted to be a star. And then after that, that's when we saw all over social media, people was leaking all her music videos, all the videos she had done on her IG, and she sounded pretty good too. She sounded pretty good. So she was lying to Gayle King. And then we find out during the trial on day number with Jane Doe on day number 5 that she lied. She confessed on the stand that she lied. Joyce Lynn lied. They both lied about everything on the interview with Gayle King. But we already knew it. You can hear R. Kelly in the background, doing that all loud and stuff. That was in 2019. And then this year, Azriel on the stand said, yeah, if y'all remember, R. Kelly was, making all those coughing sounds in the background. That was him telling us, don't speak about that. Don't answer that question. They were well trained before this interview, well trained. And if they were getting too far off or getting into a subject that he didn't want them to speak about, he would, be clearing his voice real loud. And y'all remember that. Y'all remember that, the people who watched the Surviving R. Kellys. So that is one character that stood out to me. Because also at one point in time when Azriel was still, messing around with Kelly, he had gathered around all his girlfriends and he had some type of ask R. Kelly anything type of session. During that session, one of his girlfriends asked him, why did he marry Aaliyah? And we know she passed away in an untimely death in 2001. Rest in peace to our girl Aaliyah. Kelly said that since Aaliyah was underage, it was illegal for her to get an abortion without her parents' consent, which was why he and Aaliyah illegally got married. Now, we have been hearing about those rumors for years. And a lot of people actually knew it was true, but nobody came forward. But moving on to another witness who I found very interesting. That was an ex-employee of R. Kelly. His name was Tom Arnold. Tom Arnold had worked for Kelly between 2003 and 2011 and helped connect him with female fans. Arnold's job he was elaborating like his duties, in Kelly's entourage on the stand. And he testified that one of his jobs was to hand out small pieces of paper with Kelly's phone number to females in malls and parties, wherever they went. He said he would also escort people backstage to the hotels and to the after parties. And those pieces of papers were only given to the females and only at direction from Rob, Arnold said. And we done heard those testimonies where he would say, that girl over there, that young girl over there, give her my number. He'd direct them. They couldn't just bring any female to him. It was only at the direction of R. Kelly. He also told a story of R. Kelly being overbearing with his employment practices and his pay system. He would fine his employees. Like 3 ex-employees testified to that during this trial. He would dock their pay for infractions such as failing to get him lunch on time, sleeping through a call, buying a sweatband for a female guest, Matter of fact, Tom Arnold was also fined for not getting a female tour guide for Kelly at the Disney World. Remember, R. Kelly had took his girlfriends to Disney World. And the only person they want to give them the tour, R. Kelly wanted a young girl to do the tour. But, I mean, they don't run Disney World. He might run his own empire, but he don't run Disney World. So Tom Arnold was not able to get a young girl to do the tour. Instead, they had a male. So R. Kelly was very upset with that, and he docked him his pay. He docked him his pay. Whoa. You said he had a song, I Like That Crotch on You. I remember that song. I remember that song. That said, only if you old enough, baby, 18 over 16 and under. Oh, but how I wonder. Child, if you listen, if you read between the lines and his music, like Age Ain't Number a Number is not the only song that you can like literally like to this day be like, that man was a pervert. That man was a child. That man was, and I don't want to say child molester because we don't know that he actually molested any little children, but we know that he was like not only the king of R&B, but the king of sexual assault with underage girls. Just had to take me a drink there. So that was one of the other witnesses that stood out to me. Now, another witness that stood out to me, there was two men who testified, right, that he had sexual relationships with. Both were underage at the time. And on day 8, the first man testified, the first male victim testified, and he went by the pseudonym Lewis. So this Lewis, who also AKA was John Doe number 1, he told the jury how he had met R. Kelly when he was in high school, and that R. Kelly, basically the same way he exploited females, that is how the same way he exploited him. He said it was in the year 2007, and remember, R. Kelly been having herpes since 2006. Okay, that's what's so crazy to me. This out of all these witnesses, out of all the storylines, out of all the testimonies, he been having herpes since 2006 and have sex with hundreds of people since then, giving them herpes. That is just disgusting. Ugh. But anyway, so keep in mind that was 2006 when R. Kelly, longtime doctor said that was when R. Kelly might have contracted the herpes virus. But anyway, Lewis stated that he was lured to the singer's home on false pretenses that he was going to receive help with jumpstarting his music career. And R. Kelly had asked him when he got there, what are you willing to do for music? And Lewis responded with, I'll do anything. I'll carry your bags. I'll be your errand boy. I'll be willing to do anything you wanted me to do. And R. Kelly said, nah, that's not it. That's not what I'm talking about. Then Kelly asked Lewis, have you ever fantasized about having sex with men? And after that, R. Kelly climbed down between his legs and started giving him oral sex. Lewis claims he wasn't into it, but whether he was or wasn't, R. Kelly told him, keep that between you and me. That's the first male witness. I have no respect for him as a person either. I can respect his talents in music, but that's about it. Now, another witness that stood out to me was Faith. Now, Faith, if some of y'all been following this as long as I have and watched the Surviving R. Kelly series part 1 and 2, you know that Faith, that's what she went by on the stand. But her real name is Asante McGee. But we're going to call her Faith since that's what she went by on the stand. Now, Faith had claimed that she had met R. Kelly at a concert in San Antonio, Texas. She didn't really like his music, though. She was one of the ones who really wasn't a big fan. She just met him through her sister who dragged her to the concert. Her sister was actually her older half-sister. Invited her to R. Kelly's concert, which was in San Antonio. Now, Faith on the stand, she discussed punishment and herpes. And there was a moment she recounted to the jury from January of 2018 when she visited him in LA, because even though she didn't really like him, his music and all that, he hollered at her. They ended up having a sexual relationship. So one time she visited him in LA, but she didn't get up to greet him with a kiss. when he walked into a studio. So to punish her, he left her in the studio for several hours. And once he returned, he had her take off all her clothes and walk back and forth in front of him while naked. And then he eventually took her inside a smaller room, like the size of a walk-in closet, where a gun was displayed on an ottoman in the middle of the room. He forced her down on her knees to get him oral sex with the gun right there nearby. And she claims that being so close to the gun, while she was being punished at the same time, was intimidating to her. She was scared that if she didn't do exactly what he said, that he might use that gun on her. And, excuse me, the main thing she was also testifying about was the herpes. She claims he gave me herpes. He gave me herpes. And she was referring to an outbreak of herpes she had after her last sexual encounter with him in February of 2018. So during the trial, there were like 3 women who testified of getting herpes. There was Deronda Pace, which was Jane Doe and Jane Doe number 5, which was Faith. Wait, hold on, let me back up. There was Deronda Pace, Jane Doe number 5, and then there was Faith, who is actually Asante. I think that's how you say her name. Asante McGee. So Deronda Pace and Jane Doe number 5, Azriel Clary, and then Faith. So yeah, 3 women. Deronda, Azriel, and Asante. That's their real names. Deronda, actually, she went by her name, but Azriel, she went by Jane Doe number 5, and Asante went by Faith. But anyway, because of the fact that Asante had agreed to do the R. Kelly series, Surviving R. Kelly on Lifetime, he had threatened to blackmail her with nude photos and sex videos, because we know that he videotaped everybody. He videotaped every single person he had sex with, the boys, the girls, the women. He videotaped everything. So he had tapes of everybody, and he did that not only for his own pleasure, but to blackmail all his people that he had sex with, especially the ones who were underage, but also the older ones too, because he did abuse them as well. Mentally, physically, sexually, psychologically. He abused almost every person he came in contact with. But anywho, when she was going to New York to check out the preview of the Surviving R. Kelly series, he had somebody by the name of Cass Jones, which was actually a family member of his, had her deliver some files to Faith. And in the files, it was contents of the videos, the sexual videos that he had threatened to blackmail her with. She did still go to the Surviving R. Kelly series, and in response to that, a few days later, I don't know how many of y'all remember this. See, y'all good if y'all remember this. Remember the website on Facebook called Surviving Lies? Do y'all remember that? Remember around the time of the Surviving R. Kelly series, when this Facebook page appeared called Surviving Lies? It was basically a Facebook page showing all the sex videos, all the sex pictures and everything of Faith, whose real name is Asante McGee. And he had basically came through with his threat and posted all those videos of her. Facebook did end up taking that down. They did end up taking it down for breaking their their rules, their community rules and everything. But yeah, they ended up taking it down, and that's what she was testifying to in court. See, if you go back far enough and been following this, a lot of these people who went by Jane Does, John Does, or who use pseudonym names, you can put them with a real person. You know exactly who the person is, even if they going by a pseudonym on the stand. So that's how I knew that was Asante, because she was the only one whose pictures and videos was posted on Facebook. But anyway, again, Facebook eventually took that down. So another person who stood out to me in the trial, the minister who married R. Kelly and Aaliyah. Wow, that was on day 10 of the trial. The minister who officiated their wedding, he testified about the secret wedding. He testified that R. Kelly tried to make him sign an NDA, but the pastor, although not aware enough of Aaliyah's age, He was smart enough not to sign the documents. His name was Pastor Nathan Edmonds. And he testified on day 10 that he thought the NDA didn't look legally sound. He also was subpoenaed to testify, to basically recall some of the details that he remembered from the ceremony. One of the details he remembered was Aaliyah. You remember how Aaliyah used to always wear her hair with her hair swooped down? Remember everybody started wearing the swoop after Aaliyah, and half of her face was covered by her bangs, by her hair. So he testified he really couldn't see the girl's face because her hair, So he described her. He said also that her and Kelly had on like matching jogging suits. And back in the day, we used to wear like one leg up on our jogging suits. He said they each had one leg up. Now, this is an OG, old school pastor. He just retired recently. He still lives in Chicago area. But back then, everybody used to wear their jogging pants with one leg up. I don't know if y'all did, but I used to wear my jogging pants like that too. Everybody in the hood did. But yes. So he told what he remembered. He said there was other people there. There was like 3 men there. Assuming they were like his bodyguards, his managers, something like that. He said, not only did they wear matching jogging suits, but he said R. Kelly and them tried to offer him like $25 or $50, which he again refused. And I was just thinking, like, even though he couldn't see Aaliyah's whole face at the time because her hair was hiding her face, he still should have been able to tell that she was rather young. If you go to all the old pictures of Aaliyah and Kelly, not the pictures of her in her videos, not the pictures of her in her professional photo shoots, not those pictures, because they've always made actresses or singers, whatever, look very, very grown. But look at just the regular pictures of Aaliyah and R. Kelly back in the day. She looked like a little girl, and she was. He started having sex with her when she was 13. So the pastor, I'm like, you couldn't tell that she might have been looking rather young. And then not only that, they both live in Illinois, the pastor and R. Kelly. So for over 27 years, it has been speculated that the singer married a 15-year-old girl without her parents' permission. So why did it take the pastor to be subpoenaed to come forward? Especially you, a pastor. You're supposed to be a man of the cloth. Even if you didn't know Aaliyah was underage at that time, it's been 27 years. He had to have known before being subpoenaed going to court. And he did not sign an NDA. Remember, he refused to sign an NDA during the ceremony because he said it didn't look legally sound. He also refused to accept any money. So something just don't set well with me with that pastor. Something just don't set well with me with that pastor. But anyway, moving right along. Somebody else who stood out to me was Sonia. She was one of the accusers on day 13 of the trial. She had visited R. Kelly, and this was the one who I think we already talked about her. Yeah, we already talked about her. Yeah, that was the one who was starved. She was locked up in a room. He didn't feed her, deprived her of water. And then, once they did give her some food and water a few days later, that's when she became drowsy, fell unconscious. And she accused R. Kelly of assaulting her because she woke up with some wet stuff. And we know what that is in between her legs. But yeah, so anywho, let's go on to trial day 15. Angela. There was an accuser by the name of Angela. This is the one. This was an important witness, y'all. Angela witnessed him sexually abusing Aaliyah when she was 13 years old. Remember, they got married when she was 15. So Angela took the stand on day 15. Angela, she was underage at the time also, and she was also one of R. Kelly's sexual partners at the time. She stated in court that she, along with several underage girls, including Aaliyah, were all sexually abused by Kelly. Angela was the 10th accuser who claims that the singer allegedly started sexually abusing Aaliyah when she was 13 years old, 2 years before they illegally got married. What she testified to was that she witnessed R. Kelly performing oral sex on Aaliyah in either 92 or 93, which again would make Aaliyah around the age of 13 or 14. And whether she was 13 or 14 years old, she was still a minor. Got that? Okay. So R. Kelly was 27 years old when he married Aaliyah. Um, Therefore, he was probably 24 or 25 when he started having sex with her. Still too old. And the backup dancer, Angela, she met Aaliyah through Angela met Aaliyah through him. At the time she met the up and comer singer Aaliyah, it was 92. Again, Aaliyah was around 13 years old. R. Kelly had described Aaliyah to Angela as the next up and coming artist, the hottest new wave out of Detroit, and that Angela was going to also become a backup dancer for the up and coming artist because she was at that time a backup dancer for R. Kelly. The first time Angela witnessed R. Kelly sexually abusing Aaliyah was again in 92 or 93. Angela, Kelly, Aaliyah, and Kelly's entourage was on his tour bus. And at one point in time, while goofing around with some of the other young girls on the bus that he was having sex with, they decided to play a prank on R. Kelly. What they were going to do was pour water on him. And when she opened his door to his bedroom on that tour bus to pour water on him, she spotted R. Kelly's face in between Aaliyah's legs. So he was obviously performing oral sex on Aaliyah, the young teenager at the time. So yes, that was one of the first people who actually witnessed. Several others witnessed after that because he would have all the girls. Sometimes the girls would get in trouble, and as punishment, he would make them all have sex with him. All have sex with him. They all have to pleasure him. You said, just imagine all those other celebrities who have been doing this to young girls for years. Oh, I'm sure there's many. I'm sure there's many. He ain't the only one. Child, let me take a drink. He is not the only one. Now, one of the other witnesses that I thought was very vital in this trial was male witness number 2. He went by the name Alex. And he basically testified that R. Kelly brainwashed him and directed him to have sex with zombie-like women. So, this male took the stand on Monday, September 13th, to testify against R. Kelly. He told the jury of his year-long relationship with the singer when he was about 20 years old. Alex had first met Kelly in 2007 when he was 16, while still in high school. But for this guy, their relationship didn't start until 4 years later. Now, if you can recall, on trial day 5, when we heard from Jane Doe number 5, which is Asriel Clary, she first told the courts about someone by the name of Nephew. Now, this is very important, y'all, because Asriel had testified on day 5. These witnesses, they're not like, they don't really know each other like that. You know what I mean? None of them has been around R. Kelly for years. So a lot of their testimonies were collaborating other people's testimonies, to build the case even bigger, So Jane Doe number 5, she had testified on day 5 of the trial about a guy named Nephew. That's what he went by. That wasn't his real name, of course. But she had testified that oftentimes R. Kelly would force her and other girls to have sex with someone by the name of Nephew. And it was a form of punishment for breaking one of his stringent rules. And as a form of punishment, Nephew was to be pleased by her and the other girls the same way they pleased R. Kelly. And Jane Doe number 5 also alleged that this Nephew was also groomed by R. Kelly. So when Nephew took the stand days later, keep in mind, he's not one of the accusers either. He's not there to testify and say R. Kelly did anything wrong to him. He was just there to basically assist the prosecutors to prove that somebody else's story was in fact true. So anyway, he was subpoenaed by the courts to testify. He did meet the singer through that other man, the first man we talked about, Lewis, an aspiring musician. You don't remember Lewis, the one whose career never got off the ground because R. Kelly basically lied to him and used him. Um, Alex's first encounter with Kelly was at his mansion, his Olympia Fields mansion, in the suburbs of Chicago. It was during his Double Up album release party in 2007. Now, the first time Alex had sex with the singer, along with another woman, was at that home. And it was in one of R. Kelly's children's bedroom. Ain't that gross? Like, you bring random people, because R. Kelly don't really be knowing the people he has sex with. He would meet them at the malls, meet them at the concerts, parties, backstage, McDonald's. He didn't know these people. And you bring in these people into your children's bedroom, having sex on your children's beds. I thought that was so disgusting. I was like, But anyway, some people are like that. I didn't heard of people doing that shit before, sneaking in their kids' bedroom. Anyway, that's another story for another day. So this Alex again, that was the first time he met him, and he had sex with him with another woman in his children's bedroom. He said it was filmed. He said R. Kelly, this is in his children's bedroom, y'all. He had production lights, he had his iPad, tripods, and Alex said that was just one of the three-way encounters that he had with another woman that was recorded with the singer, or on a tour bus, or in a recording studio. He also said R. Kelly would actively either participate in the sex, and if he didn't participate, he would either watch, instruct, or masturbate to them having sex. But either way, it was always being filmed. It was always being filmed. But what stuck out with Alex's testimony was that he said most of the women he had sex with, and they threesomes and stuff, he said they looked zombie-ish, like zombie-like. Like either they were drugged or either they didn't want to be there. Like they were in there in the present, but their spirit wasn't there. It didn't take me long to figure it out. And then the fact that Jane Doe number 5 had testified on day 5 that they were forced as punishment to have sex with this person called Nephew. They were forced, and that they didn't want to have sex with Nephew. And then Alex gets on the stand and testifies how R. Kelly would have him have sex with these women, and they look zombie-ish. 2 and 2 equals 4. 2 and 2 equals 4. Okay. So, as far as Alex's relationship with the singer, R. Kelly told him if anybody ever asked him about their relationship, to tell them that he was his stylist. So kind of like what he told the other guy, the first guy who testified, if anybody ever asks you, don't say anything, keep this between me and you. R. Kelly didn't want nobody to know that he was bisexual. Now, the tapes, remember on day 16 of the trial, that was when the jury got to listen to some audio tapes through headphones, and I got to review excerpts of the tapes of Kelly making threats to some of his victims during the year of 2008. And those recorded excerpts show basically the type of physical and psychological abuse the defendant employed to exert and maintain control over women and girls with whom he was engaging in sexual relationships. And number 2, it was used to basically his regular use of audio and video recordings to maintain control of females and protect the charged criminal enterprise. Again, blackmail. They were trying to prove that all these recordings, not only for his pleasure, was for blackmail. He always had them sign pieces of paper saying, I agreed to this, I agreed to be beaten, I this, I that, and then all those papers would go to his attorney. They would all go to his attorney. So you having sex with all these underage girls, you having them sign all this paperwork, and then you giving it to your attorney, and the attorney just kept the information for days like trials, like what he's going through right now. See, he learned that from 2008. He learned that from, being for getting away with those charges in 2008 with the that little girl, the little 14-year-old girl. Hmm. Yeah, when he was acquitted. So he learned a lot since then, how to try to control his women and do what he want to do, and then use videotapes to blackmail them in hopes of them not telling on him, not snitching on him, not testifying against him. Hmm. They were drugged. They had it. They had to take it at his request. Those poor girls were forced to follow his instructions because, yeah, they were afraid. They were afraid. And some of the videos that he took of them was stuff that you didn't want people to see, like the pissing, the urinating, the forcing them to have sex with other females, having sex with guys they don't want to have sex with. A lot of these acts that they did was things like, okay, maybe if you were having sex with your man and the video leaked, you would be embarrassed for a moment. You would be angry and upset. But the things that he was having them doing, like all this X-rated 50 Shades of Grey type of things, yeah, that would be truly an embarrassment and truly, oh my God, I would just crawl under a rock if that, yeah, if stuff got leaked out about me like that. But you know. Now, somebody else that stood out to me was the cop and the rapper. These are the last two people I want to talk about, y'all. The last two people I want to talk about. But I just want to reiterate before that, those tapes that the jury heard, again, they were basically used to prove that he is abusive, verbally, physically, mentally. On one of the tapes, the singer can be heard making threats against a woman who said he was lying on him, and lying to him. And he said, "If you lie to me, I'm going to f you up." He can then be heard assaulting the woman. On another tape, Jane Doe number 20 could be heard being berated and threatened by Kelly for allegedly stealing a Rolex watch from him. What he said to her was, "You better not ever take from me again, or I will be in Florida and something will happen to you." So again, for the jury, those audio tapes were to help prove that he is in fact and probably has always been a very violent and controlling man. I mean, you could hear the venom in his voice as he screams, yells, curses, threatens his victims. You know, but anyway, I mean, I'm just saying, if I was in the jury, I would think that any sensible person could tell that this man has some serious issues, which I still is a result of his childhood. But anywho, now to the last two witnesses I wanted to talk about that were on the defense team. That's why when you hear what these witnesses said, or when you read what they said on the stand, and then you read what his lawyers, his defense, like when they were doing their closing arguments and they comparing R. Kelly to Martin Luther the King, I'm like, who is paying these lawyers? This gotta be, I mean, is this a setup? Is they setting up purposely for his lawyers to lose this case? Because it sure doesn't seem like they were out to win. Not really. But anyway, it was two different witnesses I want to talk about. Just two of them. There was more, but I just want to talk about the cop and the rapper. The cop, there was this cop. He's a former cop now of Chicago Police Department. And he was a very close friend to the R. Kelly. He was also one of his security guards. And he was subpoenaed to testify. But everything that he was saying was contradicting his responses on cross-examination. His name was Larry Hood. So former officer Larry Hood, close friend and bodyguard of R. Kelly, told the jury that he never witnessed R. Kelly being around any underage girls. But then when on cross-examination, he admitted to seeing Aaliyah hanging out with the star when she was around 13 or 14 years old. This cop even denied knowing that Aaliyah had gotten married to the singer when she was 15 years old. And as a matter of fact, remember Angela, the 10th accuser, who claimed that the singer allegedly started sexually abusing Aaliyah when she was 13? Aaliyah used to hang out with R. Kelly all the time with Angela. Not only with Angela, but with Tiffany, another young girl. They all hung around R. Kelly. They were like the three amigos. All three girls were very close. They always having sex with R. Kelly. They always hang around R. Kelly. But this cop claims that he never witnessed him hanging around any young girls. And then on cross-examination, he's like, yeah, oh yeah, I remember Aaliyah. Yeah. She hung around. She was 13. So wouldn't that mean she was a young girl that you just testified to not seeing around him? Now, how such a close friend and bodyguard wouldn't have known that his friend was sleeping with underage girls, including and up to marrying Aaliyah? Yeah, he was being untruthful. Yeah, he was being untruthful. He even stated on the stand, as a police officer of the law, I would have had to take action against that. I never had to take any action. I was never made aware of any wrongdoing. Uh-huh. Nonetheless, although that was the first time a police officer has ever testified during that trial, there has been allegations of police officers turning a blind eye on illegal activities, such as Kelly abused underage girls. Let's not forget about the witness who went by Jane. She testified early on in the trial that during her first sexual encounter with Kelly, it was interrupted by a police officer. A police officer who also checked her ID, which said she was 17 years old. So even after saying all that under oath, nobody has to convince me that he's just being extremely loyal to his friend. Because while trying to seem like such a law-abiding citizen who also enforced the law, he was also convicted of forgery. This cop testifying that he didn't know about R. Kelly having sex with these girls, even though he was his close friend and bodyguard. That officer was arrested for trying to pass off fake $100 bills. Then he turned around and said on the stand that he left the Chicago Police Department in good standing. But the prosecutors had found out and showed records of him leaving the force after pleading guilty to forgery. He lied all through his testimony. Those are the type of people that the defense was using to make R. Kelly look like a saint. Now, the last person that stood out to me was the rapper. The defense brought this aspiring rapper on the stand to testify on behalf of R. Kelly. He basically a wannabe rapper. That's what I call him. His name was Donnie Ramadan. And he testified in court that R. Kelly was his mentor and friend who was helping him with his career. He straight up said that any allegations made against the singer was absolutely false, fake news. Ramadan, he met the singer at a mall in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And upon meeting him, they discussed with the singer his musical ambitions, his musical aspirations. And for the next 15 years, or up until 2019, which was when R. Kelly got locked up and can't get out. Up until 2019, the two of them were together almost on a daily basis. The rapper, who never had his career pop off, stated in court that he spent almost every day with the singer despite not being on his payroll for 15 years. Kelly didn't even jumpstart his career, nor did he even pay the guy or give him a position among his staff. In other words, this wannabe rapper, I believe, was just another member of his entourage. And could have possibly even been having sex with him for all we know. Yep. Because several men had already testified to being in a sexual relationship with the star when they were underage. But whatever it was, the rapper never put out one album and is now working on a shoe line. Now that R. Kelly is locked up, he's working on a shoe line. Yet again, this rapper claims to have never witnessed R. Kelly being around any underage girls, even though he claims to have spent darn near every day with this man being mentored. And when asked to describe this mentorship program on the stand, he was told he was just there to watch and observe. So for 15 years, you were told to watch and observe in this mentorship program, and he never helped you get one single release. And you mean to tell me that within all this watching and observing day in and day out, he never saw anything out of the ordinary? You know this witness was lying. Oh, really lying. And then on cross-examination, just like the cop, he backpedaled and pussy popped. telling the prosecutor that he spent far less time with R. Kelly than he at first admitted to. Therefore, claiming that's why he probably didn't get to witness anything between Kelly and any young girls. The rapper, y'all. This rapper, this is the last thing I'm going to say, y'all. This rapper, he was also shown photos of R. Kelly and his entourage on his tours. This rapper who hung around R. Kelly every single day to watch and observe and was being mentored. When he was showing photos of Kelly's and his entourage, on the tours, guess who was missing from all of the photos on the tours? Mm-hmm. He couldn't even recall which tours he might have joined R. Kelly on. That's all I gotta say. You said brainwash girls. That's all I have to say. That is all I have to say. I'm like, I really think that the defense team didn't do a good job at all. Like, I'm still baffled behind them using or comparing R. Kelly to Martin Luther King. Just amazing. Just amazing. That's y'all last shot. That was y'all Hail Mary. Ooh-wee. Well, that's all I got, y'all. I'm like, wow. Angel's Law review. Angel's Law, I've been following the trial for a while now, and I really didn't see a lot of backpedaling and pussy popping from the witnesses. Most of their stories were pretty much the same for years. Even a couple of years ago during the R. Kelly Surviving R. Kelly series, a lot of the witnesses were used to collaborate other people's stories, other people that they really don't even know. So if you know some lies, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Please feel free. Angel's Law review. I'll wait. Because one thing about it, and two things for sure, even if they did lie, even if some of the witnesses on the prosecution team did lie, are you going to sit there and tell me that this man wasn't having sex with underage girls for years and giving them herpes for years when his doctor even testified that R. Kelly been having herpes since 2006? I'll wait, because I've been following this forever, since 2008 when he was acquitted with the little girl. Oh, thank you, View. Yes, I'm telling y'all, I've been following R. Kelly since 2008. Since before 2008. When that tape, hell, we watched the damn tape in the hood, in the projects, that tape of him pissing on that little 14-year-old girl. Was that a lie? I mean, the bottom line is he done a lot of bad shit to a lot of people over the years. A lot of underage people. He married a 15-year-old girl that he was having sex with since she was 13. So, yeah, it could have been some people, some witnesses that did lie. It could have been. But for the most part, R. Kelly is a nasty ass man who used his fame and his music to be able to do whatever he wants to do, and made every single person he met sign an NDA. He even tried to make the pastor, the minister who married him, he tried to make him sign an NDA, but the pastor was like, nah, that don't look legit. So there's some fishy going on. Yeah, he still married them. He still married them because of that fake ID that Aaliyah had. So it said she was 18. So I mean, he married him anyway, but he wasn't gonna sign no NDA. But yeah. So I don't know. I'm still waiting on Angel's Law to respond. But I guess since they're not responding, I've been on here long enough, almost an hour and 15 minutes. We had a little technical difficulties, but I hope everybody got the gist of what I've been saying. Basically, my job here, y'all, was breaking down the trial. That's it. Breaking down the trial. Now, y'all, it's up to y'all to determine how to feel about this man. Of course, we know he was a genius in the studio. He was a genius as musically. The man couldn't damn near read nor write. Aaliyah wasn't, hold up. I'm not saying Aaliyah wasn't no angel. I'm not saying Aaliyah wasn't no angel. I don't know how Aaliyah was in real life. All I know was she was sexually molested for years. And then went through a secret marriage because she got pregnant by R. Kelly, who was sexually molesting her. What does that got to do with her being an angel? I'm confused. I am so confused. Okay, Angel's Law. Obviously, you ain't been watching me for the last 5 weeks while I've been breaking down every single testimony of every single witness. You just up in my chat to start some shit, and you're a troll. And I don't know why you have law behind your name because it should say Angel's Troll. But I'm going to do you a solid and do you a favor and just block you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna just block you because you just in here just trying to disturb the show. And so there we go. Yeah, that's how we gonna do that. And I knew they was a troll. I was just waiting for them to show they self. I was just waiting for them to show they self. That's all. I knew they was a show. I'm like, you obviously ain't been watching me. We've been covering this trial for the last 5 weeks. But anyway, y'all, hey Carletta, I'm about to get off of here. We've been on here for an hour and 15 minutes. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my day. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Tomorrow, either tomorrow or Monday, I'm gonna come back at you guys and we're gonna do a review of Power. I think it's the season finale or the mid-season finale that's coming on tomorrow night on Sunday. So we're basically going to review that. And everybody, please make sure you like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Please and thank you very much. Stay safe, be blessed, remain vigilant at all times. Bye.